Hello everyone, this is Vivi. Welcome back to my channel. I hope that everyone is doing well so far despite the heavy energy in the air right now because we are between the eclipses. We just moved out of the lunar eclipse in Libra and now we're moving toward the solar eclipse in Aries. On top of that, the weather has been rainy the whole week here in Nova Scotia, so nobody seems like in good mood lately. So the eclipses this year is quite special because they conjunct the south node in Libra and the north node in Aries, which is my south node and my north node. This is the reason why I'm talking about it, because I've been feeling the energy quite a lot lately and I can really feel that it is pushing me out of my comfort zone. And the lunar eclipse in Libra that conjunct the south node in Libra, what it does is asking you to release the aspects of you, the trait of you that create dysfunctional relationship in your life, which are often the traits of people pleasing, the fears of judgment, fears of abandonment, fears of not being good enough. We have to release these traits in order to prepare us moving toward the portal of the solar eclipse, which signifies a new beginning, a new chapter, a new era, the new version of ourselves that is healthier so that we can create a much better relationship in our life. So the most important relationship is the relationship with ourselves. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video today. First, I'm gonna distinguish the difference between self-love and selfish, because it seems like many people still don't know the difference between the two. Then I'm gonna explain what does it really mean to love yourself and how you can love yourself better. Okay, so before we go into the topics for today, I have a very important announcement that I would like to make. I just published my new website. It's called vvthai.ca. The old website, Living Through Alchemy, is no longer working because I feel like I'm moving through a different stage of my life now. So I want a different face, a different website, and it has a lot more information about me and also services that I'm going to be offering as well with Reiki, sound therapy, and mentoring. So you can check out all the information on my new website. Make sure you go to vvthai.ca. That is vivithai.ca. Now, if you are in Halifax, I have something important that I would like to share with you. I'm going to facilitate a series of 3 events for sound healing. This is something I have been working for the entire year, so I'm pretty excited to put it out there and start practicing sound healing. If any of you that follow me for a while, especially for those that know about my chronic heart healing journey, you probably know that sound therapy has been able to help me with chronic heart, and I'm still doing it until these days. Like, I still listen to Tibetan singing bowls like regularly to help me heal and alleviate the itchiness of my skin. So that really inspired me to go into sound therapy so that I can help to bring this therapy to other people to help them heal, either it's physically or emotionally. And this is what I was talking about, how the eclipses really push me toward that uncomfortable zone, because I'm doing something new and it is unnerving but exciting at the same time. And I'm pretty excited to step into that new version of myself, being a healer, a Reiki master, and a cellular therapist. And I really hope that I can help others to heal as much as I was able to heal myself. So make sure you check it out. It's going to be on April 16, 23rd, and 30th. It's gonna be 3 days in April. All the information will be on my website and also in the description down below as well. So first, let's talk about the difference between self-love and selfish, because I see that many people still have this misperception, especially those that come from Asian culture, because we were taught to always put other people first. And through generation to generations, this is true for women, that we were taught to always suppress ourselves, to never speak of our truth in order to please the male aspect, the elderly, the brother, the father, the husband, and in government officials. Everyone back then was male. So this trait of people pleasing, I see that it is more prominent in women than in men. Not that men do not have it, it's just a little stronger in women. So I find that it's very natural, especially this also happens to me as well, the trait of people pleasing. It's natural, it's something that we inherit and we do not even know sometimes that this is what we do, unless we are very much aware of it and that we understand this trait. Because that is what society do, that is what our families do. So it's a natural thing. Then over time we accept that it is the right thing to do. However, it goes against the law of nature, because we cannot give from a place of emptiness. We cannot give love when we do not have our cup completely full. And this is what the trait of people pleasing does, because when you please other people, when there's an energy exchange there, right? So the more you give without taking it back, then you're just gonna keep on giving and giving and empty your cup. And that's why it creates an imbalance in relationship. Hence most relationships are dysfunctional, and people are not completely happy in relationship, divorcing or not. Like I see that in Asian cultures, even though couples that stay together, not necessarily that they're really happy. And here in the Western culture, more than 50% of marriages ended up in divorce. So until we learn to understand what hidden in our shadow, these traits, these fears that are hidden in our shadows, then we can bring it out into light. Then we can really release it and learn how to love ourselves better. So that is where we become selfish, because the more we give without receiving love back, the more we have that expectation of other people to take care of us, and the more it clings you into that tendency of emotionally dependent or codependency. So selfish comes from a place of craving more attention, being the center of attention from other people, craving that energy from other people because we don't have it within ourselves, because our cup is empty. So when we crave that attention, when we don't have it, it doesn't meet our expectation. It creates frustration, right? Then it blows up into fight and creates unhappy relationship. But in self-love, it's all about giving that attention to yourself, being your own best friend, knowing your needs, knowing your values, so that you can give it to yourself, so that you can fill your own cup. You can independently do it yourself. It's emotionally independent, not emotionally unavailable, like in some crazy that would be like someone who's very damaged and not able to understand their emotion. That would be like completely shut down. Here in self-love, it's coming from a healthy state of being in relationship with yourself. Understand your emotional needs, understand your physical needs, and you're the one who filling that cup for yourself instead of waiting for other people to fill your own cup. So that is the difference between self-love and selfish. I think a really good example of that is, I remember in COVID-19, I think that this would be a great example of what selfish really means and what self-love really means, right? During the COVID, when you go to the grocery store, like everyone started to hoard stuff like paper towels and toilet papers, like the toilet paper crisis in COVID-19. I thought that was really crazy. That was ridiculous and insane. Why do people hoard toilet paper? It makes completely no sense to me. So that is the trait of selfish, like hoarding stuff, like taking everything for yourself without thinking of other people. Now, in the place of self-love, in self-love, you understand that you are one with everything, you are one with the all, you are one with the society, and that you cannot completely obtain the state of peace when the whole world around you is in chaotic place. So in self-love, you understand exactly what you need, and you get what you need instead of hoarding it and taking it from other people, right? Because when you do that, you just create more chaos. It doesn't create more peace. And so why do you want to bring that chaos and frustration into your life by creating it? So I think that may give you a clear picture between self-love and selfish, and that they are completely 180-degree difference in two different horizons, in two different spectrum here. So another example is when you go on the airplane, right? Self-love is all about putting your oxygen mask on first before you put it on to other people, like to your kid. Like, I think, like, normally when you go onto the plane, you often hear them say that the stewardess or the flight attendants announce that you have to put your oxygen mask on first before you can put it on to your kid. And selfish would be, you would go into that panic state and that you would take all of that oxygen mask for yourself and not leaving any oxygen or any mask for other people. That's what means selfish, right? So these are the differences. I hope now that is clear for you what self-love and selfish it really means. Okay, so let's talk about how we're able to love ourselves. What kind of actions that we need to take? What does this really mean to love oneself? For me, before we go into any relationship, right, we would have to get to know other people. So before you learn how to love yourself, you would have to know who you are at the core. In order to do that, you would have to spend time with yourself. You would have to be alone with yourself, right? Often we are, especially in Asian culture, we are so bombarded with other people around us all the time. And like, you live with your family on your life, and this creates a fear of loneliness. So when you start practicing go into the loneliness in order to know who you are, you will also overcome that fear of loneliness as well. You will start to become emotionally independent. How I was able to do this was with van life, because by living in the van, I go into nature all the time and I travel so much. When I go into nature, I often stay alone by myself. There wasn't anyone around me, and sometimes it's very remote, very rural. So I spend a lot of time in silence, a lot of time in nature with myself for the last several years. And this really helped me to notice my emotion, to observe myself, to be more self-aware of everything I do, the way I think, and the way I feel as well. So that's why I always say that van life is the catalyst to help me with personal growth, and it helps me tremendously the last several years. This is one of the most powerful and unique experience that I would recommend everyone to try out, to live this nomadic minimalist lifestyle, because the challenges that it brings you will really help you to shaping yourself to be stronger, to be more confident, and to learn so much about who you are at the core. And I did a lot of video about this in the past as well. I can link these videos down below. I talked about how van life really helped me with personal growth. So that's the number one thing. You would have to get to know who you are in order to start create a relationship with yourself. Now, the second thing is, when you create a relation in any relationship, you need trust. Without trust, there is no foundation for a relationship. So you would have to learn to have your own back, to be your own best friend. And how you're able to do this is by showing up for yourself, to create healthy habit, healthy routine for yourself, by taking care of yourself physically, emotionally. This is all about self-care. It's like how you love other people, like especially how you love a child, you would want to bring that love into yourself. How you take care of a child is how you take care of yourself. So look at yourself like a baby, like a boy or a girl, and just ask yourself, what do you need emotionally and physically, so that you can take care of yourself better. And I often do this with Marco. Like I observe myself the way I love Marco. So I projecting it back to myself, and I ask myself, have I loved myself that way? Because I always make sure that I would give him the best life possible, and to always give him attention and love and feed him the best food possible. So it's like whenever I do anything good for myself, I do anything good for him, and it's the other way around as well. So I use him as like, or I use the way I love him as a reflection how I love myself that way as well. So having your own back, create a better connection with yourself so that you can be your own best friend is very crucial to establish that foundation for your self-love. The next thing is about healing the inner child. So why we have this fear of loneliness, the fears of judgment. So often people are feeling insecure in relationship because there is an emotional needs that need to be fulfilled, and these needs were not fulfilled because of the wounds that they carry since they were little, right? And often these was the fears that was instilled by the parents or adults, caretaker, when you were little, when you were between 0 to 7 years old, when your subconscious mind was still at the stage of developing. It was recording on the events, on the emotions that you pick up from the surrounding and other people around you. So naturally you will instill all the negative beliefs and fears and judgment in your body, and you naturally behave that way. You naturally inherit it and bring it out to your relationship. So it is our responsibility to release these fears and rewire the negative stories about ourselves, the self-criticism and negative self-talk, so that you can love yourself better. Like when you love someone, you wouldn't you wouldn't judge that person, or you wouldn't criticize that person for not being good enough. And sometimes we do that to other people because we do that to ourselves. So I'm very much being mindful how I treat Marco, and that I would always tell him that I love him every single day, and tell him that I'm very proud of him, and encourage him to step out of his comfort zone, and encourage him whenever he's afraid of something. So this is what we also want to do with ourselves. I feel that meditation is what helped me to be more mindful whenever I have that negative self-talk. I catch myself easily and rewire it. And these days I'm very emotionally aware as well. Like when I feel something, I often ask myself, like, what does this mean? And what's the root of it? And if I don't get it through meditation, I would go into journaling. I find that journaling really helped me to release out all the negative emotions and help me to understand better the core beliefs, the core negative beliefs, and where these fears really come from, the root cause of it. So another thing that you can do to rewire these negative beliefs is by doing hypnosis to instill that healthy, positive beliefs about yourself so that you can love yourself better, so you know how to talk positively to yourself. You can also do affirmation. I find that practicing affirmation either through meditation and listening to affirmation, or you can stand in front of the mirror and just tell yourself that you love yourself and say all the good things about yourself and really look at yourself in the eyes and really embody that love. It can feel awkward and uncomfortable to do that in the beginning, but over time you're gonna get used to it and just practice it and do it regularly. Whenever you feel down, you feel frustrated, like do that practice of standing in front of the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself. So another thing that you can do to practice self-love is by writing letter to yourself. You can write down all the things that you love about yourself, all the things that you are proud about yourself. You can also write the letter to your future self or to your past self, especially forgiveness to all the things that your past self have done that hurt other people, that hurt you. Forgiveness is incredibly huge. And I find this is something that a lot of people have a really hard time to do, like forgiving yourself. It's easier for you to forgive other people, but it's harder for you to forgive yourself. And a lot of time you are not even mindful about it. So write a letter to your past self and forgive everything that you have done to hurt other people or to hurt yourself, and release this. You can burn this letter or throw it out to the ocean or to a stream or a river and completely let it go. Let the emotion rise up. Let it cry out, like until you cry out and you can feel the release of this emotion, and let it wash over you. Completely let it go. So you have to forgive and release in order to love yourself. You can also write a letter to your future self as well, that what your future self actually look like and what you're going to do now, how you're going to love yourself now in order to get there to the new version of yourself that you aspire to be. So imagine the person that you are inspired the most and how you can carry these traits and these personalities into your future self and what are you going to do, the actions that you are going to take, and how you're going to love yourself in order to be that person that you want to be. After all, we are really our own hero, so we have to be the person who have our own back. We have to be the person who heal ourselves. We have to be the person who love ourselves. We have to be that person who is emotionally independent. We cannot rely on other people to love us, to give what we need, because when we do that, we give our power away. When we rely on other people and they do not meet our expectation, it just creates frustration and is breaks the bond between us. When you go into a relationship with with other people, and you don't have the foundation of loving yourself, of being emotionally stable, you cannot bring, you don't have a lot to give, to bring into that relationship. So you cannot expect the relationship to be stabilized when you yourself is not stabilized. Only when two people that are whole and stable, that is when they can create a stable bond in the relationship that is healthy, that is long lasting. So I hope that you get to understand this, and why it's so frustrating to be in relationships, and often relationships are unhealthy, unhappy, and most marriages end up in divorce because we are not emotionally stable ourselves. We carry too much baggage on our body, on our back, on our shoulder, so we cannot expect the relationship to work out when we are unhealthy, when we still carry a lot of baggages. So I also find that when we are able to anchor ourselves and be emotionally stable, it helps you to transition through breakups a lot easier from relationship to relationship, because when you out of relationship with someone else, you can pick it up easily because you are able to fulfill your needs. You're able to give that love to yourself. You don't have to rely on other people. Therefore, like, going through breakups is a breeze. Like, it's not that painful. It's not so much suffering anymore. And because you understand that relationship is also the process of growth, so their phases of growth just as their phases of relationship. So when these relationships fade out, that means they do not match your vibration or your values anymore. And when they have to go and they fade away into your life, it just means that now you have to go through the next level of your growth so that you can increase your level of vibration and frequency and open yourself up to a healthier and better relationship, which is more harmonious, more unified, more aligned with who you are at your core level. That's how we level up, elevate our relationship through the stages of life. So I don't see relationship as, oh my god, like this person doesn't work out, so I have to date someone else and I have to I have to shut down because relationship doesn't work, like something wrong with myself. Like, I don't go through this stages anymore. Like, no, completely. Like when I have the healthy relationship with myself and understand what relationship really means for personal growth, is completely shift my perception, shift my point of view. And when I was able to do that, I no longer have to suffer. I no longer have to stay in pain, breakups through relationship. And after that, like, I feel I'm completely a because I'm more emotionally stable. I don't go through the wave of ups and down. Whether with relationship or without relationship, you are able to be, your mood and your emotion are always stable. You're always gonna be able to pick yourself up. You're always gonna be able to get out of that frustration, of that pain. It doesn't really bother you anymore, really, as you need to learn to be with your own self and to be your own best friend. Then anything can happen and you are still able to pick yourself up. Really, breakups is just, and heartbreaks are just not painful anymore like it was in the past. So it's really amazing, and you're no longer afraid of being in relationship or out of relationship. Okay, to wrap up this video, let's quickly summarize on the steps that we need to take in order to love ourselves better. First and foremost, getting to know who you are, being your own best friend, learn about your needs, your values, so that you know how to fulfill your own cups. Create that trust, that connection with yourself by creating healthy routine and habits and having your own back so that you can fulfill your own cup, right? You have to know what you need emotionally and physically and fulfill that for yourself. Number 3 is all about reparenting, getting to understand the wounds that you carry as a child, and rewire all the negative beliefs or all the negative stories that you learned when you were a kid. Not to blame our parents or the adults that instill these negative beliefs. Make sure that you don't go into that blaming, that victim mentality, because it's a very low vibrational state and it's really not their fault because they were not aware of these things. Like everything that they did, they was also the victim of it as well. So it's all about rewiring your belief, and you can do this by going into hypnosis or meditation or doing affirmations, I am affirmation, or stand in front of the mirror and practicing telling yourself how you love yourself. Another thing that you can do is writing love letter to yourself, like all the things that you love about yourself, all the things that you are proud of yourself, like all the achievements that you have done as well. Write a letter to your future self or your past self. Forgive yourself. All the things that you didn't like about yourself, completely let it go. Completely releasing all of it. Write out in the letter. Let it go into the letter and burn it, release it. So I think those are all the steps that you need to take. It's fairly simple, but it takes a lot of practice. It takes consistency in order to embody this self-love, so you can be more confident, you can be more independent emotionally. You no longer have to rely on other people to give you love. Now you know how to love yourself better. I hope that you also embody this and practice self-love. I think this is the most important thing that we can do for ourselves and for the world. Why? Because relationship with ourselves also affect the relationship with other people, with our family and community, which vertebrates out, emanates out to the world. So when we feel that peace, that love within our soul, we can now emanate this love vibration, this positive vibration out to the world instead of the negative vibration. That will create a more stabilized world, create a world with more love and peace, not the world with more chaos and judgment. That's all I have to share with you today. I hope that it has been helpful, and until the next video, I will see you then. Bye everyone.